Of the UK, clearly in the leisure space there's a real shortage of staff, and that's a big issue. How do you see costs in the UK versus continental Europe? Do you see many differences between the structures?
I mean, there are differences, but I mean, wages across, I mean, UK comparatively is not that bad if you compare to Nordics or the French situation. But yeah, I mean, there are differences and specificities to different countries. That's why you need an advisor that understands. You can't take a UK advisor and send them to France and say figure it out, because it's really, really complicated. Also from taxation and the various line items. So yeah, now you need a very good understanding of that. And even in the Nordic, they manage to have really high wages, but they still manage to do good returns. So you just need this type of understanding. So
and also many of the hotel workers in the continent are unionised, which gives them stronger bargaining position and much more difficult for operators to manage the costs when there's a union in place, and then obviously exchange rate fluctuation between the pound and the euro and various other currencies, and on the continent is also a risk factor, and tax can change very quickly from place to place, and has a huge impact on investments.
I was had an interesting conversation with a Greek investor going into Spain, and so it was interesting how they were, complaining about the cost of labour in Spain from a Greek perspective. Greece third lower. But equally saying that the Spanish labour market was relatively more flexible than the Greek market, which, from a UK perspective, this is all very interesting. But then saying how, the Spanish revenue tax is more beneficial, so versus Greek. So the analogy, it's so complex because you can look at all these different, and there are pros and cons from each perspective of jurisdiction that you're comfortable with, the jurisdiction that you're going into. And of course with Europe it is fragmented with multiple jurisdictional types. So it's just context really, and I think you've just got to be very, very clear as an investor and lender as to what it is, what's the dynamic between what you're going into and the markets that you're in.